I will turn off my camera and I'll turn on. Yes, okay. Hello, we are starting our evening broadcast for today. We have Nick here, and today is what? Sunday, May 18th. To find out, go to humancolony.org, and there is Nick's page right on the top, and you can find all his coordinates, and he takes private sessions. You can contact him for private channeling sessions and spiritual consultations. And you can do the same with me. So, Nick, today I suggest, how about you tell your story? I think your story without channeling is quite interesting.
Okay.
The supernatural, beyond 3D story. I mean, 3D is fine, but there is something which happened to you beyond that, your experiences of the past, and all this related to higher incarnations.
Yes.
If you're ready, if it's okay with you.
Well, I mean, my path has been a long one for me, but I don't even know, man. I feel like somebody was just asking me on Skype. They were asking me because they really want to get into channeling and stuff, and he was saying how I was telling him how the spirits have been calling me my whole life. I finally just stopped arguing with them now. So, and then he said something like maybe they were mad at him, but they were happy when they got a hold of him. And I was like, they don't get mad. They just do their best with you, and if you don't listen, they just move on. And they never leave you, but you know, they'll only continue to give you gifts and give you information if you acknowledge them.
Yeah, I also want to start channeling and invite channeling every day in my meditations. And actually, yesterday I felt that there was some opening that happened with me. But still, I don't hear anything. I don't. I channel when I write poetry, but it's a different way of channel. I cannot trance channel. I cannot hear any voices. I can't. Do you hear any voices?
It's not really like hearing voices, no. It's more of, well, the idea that most people have to understand is that thoughts are not yours. They're just your version of some information that's coming to you. If you hear them, then they're not coming from you. They're coming from somewhere else. So the faster you actually know that, then there's not really any trouble after that. That was like the final straw that broke the camel's back for me. I had to realize that none of the thoughts were actually mine at all.
Somebody said, maybe it was Bashar, that telepathy is not receiving the thoughts of others. It's synchronizing in a way the thoughts become synchronous between you and another person.
Yes, exactly. You'll think of something when you're with somebody, and then they'll say that exact same thing, but in their own version. But you had just had the thought before that in different words. It's exactly like the other person thought it, sent it to you, you know, and so you thought of it. So the mind itself is one mind for the whole planet. It's not, we don't have individual minds. We share a mind.
So learning channeling, say driving a car, you take courses and finally you learn how to drive the car, you practice and it's easy. You jump in the car, turn the key and drive. Or playing chess, same thing. You move the figures and you know what you do. In channeling, why is it so difficult to learn channeling?
Well, ever since like I first saw Bashar, like probably like the first day, I pretty much knew then that I was going to be able to channel at some point. It was just something that I knew. I knew that because I never heard of it channeling before, and as soon as I found out about Bashar, I knew that's where I was headed. I knew that I had been waiting to communicate with the other entities my whole life, and finally there was a way That's all I knew. There was a way for me to talk to them, and even if it was just through my own voice, if that was my only option, that's all I. It was a no-brainer. I had to learn how to do this because they
Also,
had been talking to me my whole freaking life, man, and I'm just trying to catch. I'm just trying to remember everything that I'm supposed to be doing. Everything that's happening in this last week, I was told that all this stuff would happen when I was a child. So I know now that I'm finally on the track that I've been looking for my whole life because I'm starting to remember through the channelings. I'm listening to the channelings and things that they're saying are making sense that they taught me when I was like a very young child.
can you share some of that?
Um,
If you're comfortable. If not, maybe
well,
you can share something that you know
it's
for a long time,
more
which is
of
easier.
the idea for me was more of, well, I knew that I was supposed to unite the reptilians and humans.
Oh, that is big.
I knew when I was a boy that I was supposed to do this, and I didn't know that's how I didn't even remember what they looked like or if they were even real at that point, but I still had that in the back of my head always that I was some sort of cross bridge, like I'm bridging a gap between two species.
Amazing. So that is it. So you are a bridge between reptilians and humans, and that's your mission.
Guess so. I
Ah,
mean, that's one of them. I think that's the first one.
I mean, of course, I know not the only mission, but it's a great mission, and you lived with it for a long time, so you know both sides of the mission, both sides of the medal. And for me, and as for great many other light workers, there is tons of questions, and you possibly already know the answers to those.
Well, a lot of people have been asking me questions, and even this guy Dan, I guess he saw one of the videos. Um, he didn't have any money to do a session or anything, but I just, talked to him on Skype and answered all his questions, and still, it's
Uh-huh.
not about the money. I mean, it's just not. It's about helping people, and it's about paying back the karmic debt that we all owe in a sense in order for us as a society, as a world society to be free. We all have to, pay what we owe in a sense. We have to pay for our sins in a sense. So, I don't like to think of it as dreary and Catholic, like, it's not depressing. Sin just means a miss. So it's just a mistake. So, you know, we all, if you believe you make mistakes in your life, then you repent for them. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to, all the love that I didn't allow to come through my whole life is just coming through now. So that's all I can be now. I don't want to be any other way. I've been trying to be this way my whole life.
Tell more of the story of your past lives.
Um, so so I live basically an existence on most uh, most planets. Um,
Fine.
I mean, I have many existences on this planet alone. Um, so I don't really understand it that much. It just kind of I'm still putting together the big picture because there's a lot of different energies coming through.
I take it as a computer game.
Yeah.
I take it as manifestation. There is now, and you're playing now, or we are playing. Each one of us plays playing, and your past lives. There might be. I mean, there is the choice of all past lives anybody ever lived, and all future lives anybody ever lived. but some of them become really important for this moment, for this now, and those play important role because they motivate you, they resonate with you, and they become your past life. So it's not fixed. When you speak to different, as Bashar said, all lives exist at the same time, and any of them are for choosing. But there is experience of living that past life, and this coming through to you. So people get sickness because in past life they had that problem. Like one person have problem with his throat chakra because he was hanged. Yes, hung. Yes, he was hung. So for you, which past lives for you are important at the moment? I guess that would be most appropriate question.
Well, I can say that through a channeling, I was actually told that because you say past lives, but Bashar refers to them as more accurately parallel consecutive existences. So my last life, I don't even know, man. I don't. It's hard to think about when I'm not channeling.
Fine, whatever.
I do
Uh,
know, however, that I have been in contact with the world, with President Obama and the Pope for many years in my dream. So,
tell us more.
well, I know that a lot of what's going on with me right now is because they want this to be happening. It has to happen through the lowest medium possible. So it has
Okay.
to come straight from, it can't come in any way, shape, or form from any government, you know, institution. So they
Tell us
they
more.
they can the government uses people like me and monitors them in order to gain more information about what's actually happening
I
with.
don't think the government is that smart. I think they're kind of a big swamp, and there is.
Well, I say the government, and the government to me is just the American government. It's not the American government. When I say government, I mean, the order, the I guess the military industrial complex, whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh. Do you
But
think they are that smart to watch over you? Maybe there is a
there
couple
are
of.
there are operatives monitoring every single person.
Yeah, a couple of operatives that have your file and
But
they kind of
when there's
check on
enough
you once in a while.
when there's enough red flags, the spotlight gets put on you.
Okay, so they watch your videos maybe once in a while. I don't think they spend a lot of time on you. So why that is
Well, I
important?
know for a fact that they're monitoring everything I do.
Yeah, they monitor, but I mean, it's
No, not just on the computer, just in general.
yeah, there is somebody sitting there, and yes, Nick Vancha there. Why is it important? I don't think it is that
No, I
important.
mean, I just had to come to terms with it.
Yeah,
So I don't care. I just, know that it's happening.
I'm a Jew coming from Russia. We were monitored all the time, especially when you go to the single synagogue in Moscow. I mean, there are police people and people in civilian dress everywhere, and they kind of write it down. It was 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up. I mean, every citizen of Soviet Union was monitored. That was, easy part of. I mean, uh, it was, because everybody was in that situation. It was natural. I mean, people couldn't even imagine it can be otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But
So tell me more. So President Obama, I have a mixed feeling about him. It looks like, I mean, the president of America is very limited in what any president can do. Any president, they are all controlled in so many ways. Their choices are to make that speech today, tomorrow, or put it on hold. The speeches are written by others, and basically they're playing the card, but the cards are given, shuffled, and given by others to them. So they're very limited on what they can do. But on positive side, somebody said that President Obama is from Sirius. I mean, his whatever spirit or genetics is very Syrian, and he looks like Egyptian, which are Syrians. Do you have any insights on that?
There's a very good chance that he's hybridized with Syrian.
Uh-huh.
But I do know that he's not fully human.
Uh-huh.
I don't really want to go into it much now. I'll let when the channels, if they think it's appropriate, because there's some of the things that I've gotten from them that I don't want people to get worried, or I don't want to give too much too fast because people just will reject it instead of letting them give time for them to build their new conceptions about things as the next few months go on.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I'm so I don't follow the news. How much longer will Obama serve? A few months more?
I don't even know. This is his last term.
Yeah, I mean,
I
how
don't know
long
when
is
it
it?
ends up.
Okay, I will check it on Wikipedia. But you're personal, you're connected to him somehow. What's your connection?
You know, I've been wondering that. I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, I lived right near where he lived, you know, when he was in Hawaii. Actually, like right there. But you know, that was just a coincidence. You know, it's a very good question. I just know what goes on. I don't know why exactly. Those are the things that I'm not allowed to know. I suppose. Not
Okay,
yet.
I looked it up. He assumed office in 2009. So next election was 13, and next election will be 17. So he has 14, 15, 14, 15, 16, many years to go. 3, I guess. So he can do things.
Yeah.
So are you telepathically connected, spiritually connected? What is your connection?
A little bit of both. Like I said, that I'm kind of not allowed to remember any of those conversations.
Oh, so you're not allowed to remember, but
Well, they ask me for consultation in a sense, and I also obviously ask them about things. But there's the, and my higher self is way more valuable than obviously this person.
I understand. I understand. Yes. Yes.
But they
Uh-huh.
don't really care if my conscious mind has any idea. They just want whatever energy that I stem from.
I understand. Uh-huh.
So
So
like
you
I said,
think,
I just started remembering all these things about my childhood and about everything, and the more I channel, the more I remember.
hmm
So this channeling thing is just as much more of a journey and a path for me because this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. People see it online, they're like, "Oh, that's awesome! Somebody that seems like me," and a bunch of people say that seems like me. Yeah, I know. I've been waiting, and they're asking me how to channel. It's like I don't know. I've been trying to do this for years. I've been trying to get in contact with these beings my whole life. I finally just found a way.
it's it is also my observation again. For many years, I was, very rarely I was thinking how the cause and consequences work. Like in classical linear term, first there is a cause and then there is a consequence. Like say you're
Hey,
late to
Caitlin.
school, and then you get, hey
Hi
there,
there.
hey, welcome, Katie. So
Thank
I'm
you.
talking about uh, how certain things from now project in the past. Now you're channeling, and now your past starts to change.
Yes,
You're
yes.
learning something, you're remembering something, and in fact, we're in a computer game, and you have this character description. What is your history? But you can edit it, you can add to it. Some things is hard to change. Your date of birth is known by others. It's in all documents. It's really hard to change. Although some people did, like Stalin had multiple dates of birth. That Russian dictator. Stalin, and nobody really knows when he was born. But my video is gone. So what I'm saying is, you creating your past right now, and you're remembering things, and this becomes real.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it gets confirmed. Certain parts of it get confirmed by my mother,
Uh-huh.
because obviously I don't know. She tells me stories now, and now they make sense now with my understandings now. So,
My
it's
my
just
my, my channeling sources, tell me histories about my youth and uh, about events in their life. And I remember very little, but there was one event which was very clear for me because it went into my poetry, and I remember it very clearly. I was about maybe I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was walking on the street. I remember that place down in Moscow. I know it was dark, clear sky down from the hill, and I looked at the sky and I thought, I came from stars. I need to pick the star where I come from. This constellation looks so attractive. It's very different from all others. So there's later learned that there's a Pleiadians. I didn't even know. So I chose. It was my choice at the time. I'm from there.
oh wow.
And now they tell me I'm Pleiadian, like in my face and behavior is Pleiadian. I'm so typical.
That's how it is,
So,
man. That's how it
and now it's like 50 minus 15 is like 35 years later.
works.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Caitlin is Pleiadian too, but
Yes, I am Pleiadian. Oh yeah, I just can't believe you told me that. I mean that you told me I got accepted. To be honest, I really don't know. Meh.
so Caitlin, I was talking to Caitlin Max, and she started asking me questions, and I
Make sure
re
not to expose anything you got in private session
yeah, it
publicly
wasn't really a
without her saying
private
that. Ask her to say
session.
that. Let her say that.
Yeah. Well, because the reason was that she asked me something. Well, she didn't ask me, but she wants to go to the colonies. She's waiting to get accepted.
Uh-huh.
And I've been there plenty of times at this point, 3 times at least in my adult life, recent in the last couple of years.
Uh-huh.
And I remembered seeing her there.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
but she was older. She was, like she looked like 20, but she looks pretty similar to how she looks in her picture. But so she asked me what she was doing, and I said she was singing. So so she's younger now, but so in when people go to the colonies, they actually are close. They're at their when they're in the colonies, they're at their higher self version of them. So they
Really?
don't actually look as human as they do on Earth.
So you haven't met me there?
I don't remember seeing you anywhere.
Maybe I was younger. Maybe I didn't wear my beard.
Maybe.
Which colony have you been? You do remember which one?
um, I've been on all of them at this point, man. But the last one I went on was 3.
What is three? The
I
three
don't
is
even know. I just know that I was on that one.
I think three was the one where they have. I don't remember.
Isn't
I'm
it the
blanking.
video? Isn't there?
Maybe yes. Maybe the video production colony.
Oh yeah, it might have been that one. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, that does make sense. It's making more sense now that you said that.
Caitlin, bring your topics. What is exciting you? Do you have any stories to tell?
Uh, well, lately I feel like when I go to school, I pass this teacher. He really reminds me, like he really looks familiar to me. I feel like he might be. Don't get weird, but like don't think I'm a weirdo. But I feel like he's Pleiadian or something.
Oh, I mean,
I get that.
I see every tall person and I'm thinking, is it an extraterrestrial? And if they look as typical Pleiadians, I have even more suspicions. But then they behave like reptilians, and I think maybe they're reptilians.
No, but like I'll walk past him and I can't explain it. You know how you walk past somebody, you know they're looking at you, and it's like I feel like he wants to say something to me, or he's trying to. I just get this energy from him because I'm empathic. I feel things. I feel something from this guy. He wants to say something, but he's not saying it, you know? So, I don't know. It's just, I get that feeling from him so much. It's not even funny. And I just want to go up to him and be like, hey, I know you, but I can't say that.
I
Because
see, I see.
I don't
Um,
know.
I think, looking from my 50 years experience, as an old guy, um, it doesn't happen because you're vulnerable. It doesn't happen because you want it that much and because it will change you. There is too many doors open. When you pass that point to the state when you already accept that this already happened and you already kind of protected from whatever happens, you're not changed much by that event, then it's much easier for that event to happen. That's my experience. Understand? Like when you accept it and accept you played out in your mind in a way that you already know what will happen. When you already know, it's easier to accept whatever happened. You can say, hey, blah, 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 and nothing happens because you're not afraid anymore, because that fear blocks it.
Well, it gets to the point I just really want to go up to him and be like, "Hey, I've seen you somewhere before. It's not even funny." Because I told my friend, she's like, "Maybe he's been your teacher before," and I'm like, "No, I've never seen this guy in my life. I know this. I know him from somewhere. I've seen him somewhere, and I just get that vibe from him, and it's like I want to go up to you and say, "Hey, I know you," but I don't know. That's a little bit embarrassing because sometimes they react and they're like, "I don't know you." But I've talked to him before. He's a really nice guy, but like I just know him from somewhere. I can't explain it. It's really
Nick,
weird.
what's your take on that?
Um, well, like I've said before, if you think even for a second, then someone's not fully human. They're at minimum a hybrid. So, I mean, like an infused hybrid. So, you know,
Yeah.
what do you think he is hybridized with, or what
Um,
energy?
I get either I think he's Pleiadian, but if not, Yahyel. So I don't know. I just get that Pleiadian vibe from him. He has these really blue eyes too, and it's like whoa. I don't know. And he's walked up to my friends and then he's talked to them and then he looks at me and it's like, damn it, I just want to say something to you but I can't because
Well,
I
maybe
don't
he
know.
is aware of the connection, and that's why he's not saying anything, because
I
it's not
could
appropriate in school. He could lose his job if he
maybe.
gets into a conversation like that with a student.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Small talk is a saving. I mean, when you talk about something else and telepathically at the same time you talk about what's interesting to you.
Yeah.
Small talk is tough. It's really hard for me, but some people master it.
Well, I realized, you know, well, when I met you guys doing sessions with Lakesh, and the first one was to Kerr, and I think one or two with Lakesh. Um, it really spiked me off into the direction of understanding my telepathy because I've always had it. So, and we're all born with it. So you just have to. It's a matter of deciphering thought and idea because thought comes from elsewhere and an idea comes from inspiration. Comes from your heart. So you gotta balance that separation there between your mind and your heart because your heart might be excited about something but knows that it's not time to move forward in it yet because your mind still thinks it is running the show.
Let's try a telepathic experiment. I'm holding something in my hand, an object which could be easily on my desk, but it's quite unexpected. I will telepathically send you the image of it. I will look at it and then look at you. Can you guess what it is? I'm sending you telepathically the image of that object.
I don't know. I have no idea. It either could be, a writing utensil or
No, something. It could be on my desk, but typically it wouldn't be on the desk of anybody else.
I don't know. I
Is
don't
it
even.
The
circular?
shape, the color. Both of you, can you guess the shape and the color?
Is it circular?
Yes.
Blue?
Mm,
Red?
mm.
Purple?
That's enough. Nick, your guesses.
Oh, dude, I don't know. Orange?
Anything, the purpose, the sensation of it?
It doesn't. When I'm not channeling, it doesn't go as far. Like
All right,
the
here we go.
thoughts. Yeah, I'm not even close.
It was
Oh
red there,
my
and it is round
God.
for sure.
Okay, I'm
But,
not
like,
kidding.
when
I
it-
actually did
it
think
only
tape.
really, I can't really. I mean, I understand that eventually I'll be able to use it over any distance, and that already I can, but I'm still not really caught up to that.
All right, let's do it. So, Caitlin, what did you say?
I'm not kidding. I actually did think tape, but I didn't want to say
Okay,
it.
all right. Here is I'm holding something even more unusual. It's a different shape. Try that. And it feels very differently. And the purpose is different. Again, the purpose, the name, the shape, the color.
Is it?
I'm really not the type of person that plays these games, Max.
You're telepathic, you should be able to.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, man. If you already know, then what's the purpose of me telling you?
Yes, you're right, you're right.
asked
When there is no
for
purpose, then yes, it's a
When-
game, yes.
When the people asked Jesus for miracles, he said no.
Yeah, Caitlin, can you do a miracle? Guess the shape
Is it a ruler?
and the material. No, not a ruler. In the material and the color. The purpose is telepathic training, I guess. That's the purpose.
Well, like I said, it's much more effective within, physical radius of the person.
I understand. I know.
Yeah, it's much, much different from doing it from, 100 miles away.
Guess the material and the shape, and then we'll done. We are done, and we'll move to the next purpose. Don't sweat over that. It's an easy. I'm playing it every day, and sometimes I get very nice hits. Caitlin, your turn.
Sorry, there's fireworks in the background.
Oh.
Is it triangular?
Maybe. And material?
Plastic?
Here you go.
Damn
Can you see? Yeah. It's a sort of triangle, but certainly not plastic. It's metal. All right. I'm playing that game. There is remoteviewdaily.com, and it allows you to see what will happen tomorrow. Basically, to guess what will happen tomorrow. And tomorrow they give you the answer. Nick, do you want to do anything? We have a few more minutes left.
Nah, I'm just really tired. This was a long weekend for me.
Would you like to? Does anybody want to come through channeling?
I won't be able to right now.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Archangel Michael was so funny when he channeled through you though.
What's that?
Funny?
Archangel Michael was so I couldn't stop laughing. What happened? Oh yeah, Max was asking. He was asking about I don't know her name. It was a goddess, right?
Oh yeah, Lilith.
No, it started with an E.
E. Oh, L.
Yeah, L. You asked about L, and Archangel Michael was like,
She's so hot. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Actually, L comes to me as a male. I don't know why he said it. It is a her.
Oh, I actually couldn't stop laughing. Like, I never would expect him to ever say that.
I mean, L is completely asexual. It is a banker. L is a banker of the universe. And saying that a banker is hot is just a joke.
No, it just made me laugh because he was like, "What did I just say?" After he said it, was it the vocabulary or something? Like I don't even know. It was just funny.
Oh yeah,
But
he
yeah,
said. Yeah, I remember it. That was funny. Yeah, this. Yeah, I like Michael a lot.
I do too. I've had a couple experiences with him, and I don't know. I feel really good energy from him.
Yeah,
What were, what,
he's a pretty cool guy.
what were your experiences with Michael?
Um, well, whenever I go to sleep and I feel really unprotected, I always ask for his help because I can feel energies around me. So when I feel a negative energy, I just ask him for help. And one time I did it, and I don't know if there was energy shifts going around in the world or not, but like I could actually see his energy. It was like flowing towards me, and it was like sapphire colored, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And I just knew it was him because that's his color, right?
Oh, actually,
And
uh-huh.
yeah, it was really interesting, and I think he touched my arm one time too, so that was pretty awesome.
Did you watch the movie, Michael?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that movie. That's really cool. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
I wanted to ask him about the movie, but I didn't. Yeah, I looked up the story about Lilith. I was ashamed that I didn't know the Bible, but apparently Lilith's story is not from the Bible.
Well, it
It
wasn't.
is.
It was. I don't know where. It's an ancient. It's the original Genesis or something.
It is slightly mentioned in Assyrian tablets, uh, but most important, and it was just at that time it was mostly a female demon, and people were protecting their houses against this demon. So there was a prayer and there was a drawing, so they kind of protect their houses from female demon. But in medieval Europe, especially after Goethe and in Kabbalah, in more kind of medieval Kabbalah, that became a very prominent figure as the first wife of Adam, which was created as Adam in parallel. The God created two
Yeah.
counterparts.
Yeah.
So that was became a completely different story, and it lost much of this darkness. It's not as dark anymore, at least in that um, understanding.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't read the Goethe's thing, and I just wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
mean,
y-
they say when I go through the channels, they say a lot of things that I gotta look up because I don't even know.
It's not. It's interesting. Like in when I look with Wikipedia and science, they value the most original text more, and whatever was written after that less, because it is sort of later, thousands of years later.
Yes.
But in New Age perspective, it doesn't really matter if we can change the past, we can change the whole story of many stories, and maybe Goethe was right, and that whole story is transformed now to more truthful story. So
Yeah.
that Kabbalah, I know,
Well,
I
that
would
story
accept
will
it.
change a lot.
Really?
That Genesis story will change many times.
Oh, change many times. Yeah, Elohim. What do you know about Elohim?
I know that the Elohim are, who they're talking about in the first lines of the Bible.
Yes.
Um, I believe it's Hebrew, um, and it means gods,
Yeah,
plural.
El means God. Im at the end means plural. Yes, gods.
So,
I, I asked many higher beings about Elohim, and I asked Angel Gahil, and I asked El, and I asked a few others, and they say Elohim is just another form of God. The God is one and many at the same time,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
Elohim
well, the
is
Elohim
God.
was a group, I guess. I think it was 7.
Oh,
I believe there were 7 Elohim.
oh, okay.
Sounds really familiar though.
Yeah.
For some reason, names I've heard, out of all the names I've heard so far, Elohim really does sound familiar to me. I really don't know why. It just does. Like
So
something
basically, they
that.
were involved in the creation of humanity. But the question is, were they physical at that time, or were they always spiritual? And second, was it the story about creation of humanity on Earth, or was it the older story? Because apparently the human was created many times, and the Lyran story apparently, as I understand what I hear, the creation of a man goes before the Big Bang. Basically, we are in the second or third Big Bang in this creation, and the man was created in the previous one, the human man. It was quite different, but it was the general shape and the general idea of human was before the Big Bang. And I think Lyrans also created before the, I mean, and that period of time, and then they came to Lyra and to Lyra, and then they were attacked by reptilians, and they were scattered, and there was a diaspora, basically Lyran diaspora, and then some of them came to Earth, and then the whole story goes from there.
Yeah. I mean, I really am interested. Well, the deluge happened because of the Zetas. You know that, right?
I heard it yesterday. I didn't know before. I read a story of destruction of Atlantis by Tiburon, and it sounded very detailed and very true to me. I was said to have an incarnation on Atlantis, and so I kind of relate to that as well. Tell me more.
I don't know much. From what I gathered, something about they were just doing an experiment or something, and it just went really wrong.
The Zetas.
Yeah.
Maybe these are two different stories. The
Yeah,
story.
I mean, I'm just saying I heard that somewhere. I don't know.
The story by Tiburon is that I think the Mu was original. Atlantis was a colony of Mu, like America is a colony of Europe.
Yeah.
And at some point it divided. It was more division, not like geographic, but more like the parts of the society. And one part of the society was more spiritual, relaxed, and elevated, like Lightworkers, and another part was more dark, focused on pleasure and technological. And focus on pleasure when long way they kind of create, enlarge their sexual organs and enlarge their sexual desires and pleasures. And they also created the genetically engineered races of slaves, and this went so far that it harmed the whole thing, the whole society, the whole planet, because the slaves were treated pretty badly, and that's where they created all this sort of mermaids, mixes of humans with all animals, and they were treated as slaves. And but because of these slaves, they were economically very advanced, and when the Civil War happened, that bad part of the Atlantis was winning, and also at the same time they had a system of ecology which was based on series of towers on Earth, and also the second moon, which was a crystal artificial moon which was circling around the planet, creating artificial ecological conditions which were beneficial for humans, like climate control thing. So they started using that as a weapon. They were shooting down their enemies from the moon, and so that was clearly to be, going to you know. So the evil was winning, and at some point, people decided to crash that moon on Atlantis, and people knew about that happening and scattered around the world, creating colonies. So many people escaped to the colonies, and then that moon crashed on Atlantis and kind of buried the whole continent. And that was the biggest disappointment, biggest catastrophe on Earth, because the civilization was very advanced and it was using a lot of extraterrestrial technology. Extraterrestrials walked on Earth. Sirians were there, Pleiadians, and many others were there. That was very advanced society, and I think Bashar says it was 23,000 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure Noah came out of Atlantis and landed in India. And the society they started there was called the Rishis. They lived in like mud huts made out of roots and stuff. They only ate, I think they ate roots, and they lived in mud huts and just did the Rishis are the ones who invented yoga. So they would practice being in animal positions, and they would practice defying, like, they didn't want to go with gravity, so they just would always do positions where they were like releasing gravity in a sense. So they would just do yoga for, all day, and then they would eat and meditate, and that was their life. They lived like that for hundreds of years. All they did is yoga and eat roots. So.
Another story related to Atlantis is that Bashar said that, and then got a lot of confirmation of that crisis, the destruction of Atlantis, was a pretty bad scar on human collective. And the whole Atlantis civilization is incarnated now to heal that scar and to replay the whole scenario again, but in a positive way. And that America is now the Atlantis, the new Atlantis, and the self-destruction of the world is that what we are replaying. We are trying to prevent that self-destruction, and the same souls which lived in Atlantis are incarnating now with this, even maybe as cities, as groups of people, and replaying the whole scenario again to get it right.
That's really interesting. Wow.
All right, and now we do the commercials, and we need to go sleep. So, Caitlin, how did you find us initially?
How did I find you guys?
Yes.
Well, I joined the Starseed network a couple months ago, and I was creeping some of the forums because I'm kind of a creeper, and I seen like a forum about how to meet your star family, and this girl, she posted about the human colonies, and she's like, oh, I met my star family through this, and my star family talks to me now, and I'm like, wow, that'd be kind of cool, because, well, I feel like my star family doesn't really exist, or like they're not really in contact with me, I don't feel. So I just went on here, and then I seen some of the channelings, and I was like, oh my god, this feels like the real deal, so I had to.
Yes, we are real deal. Yes.
Yeah.
Humancolony.org, that's how you can find us, and we are loosely organized group of people, and we now have excellent channelers. We started with Jim, we have Nick channeling, Zechariah channeling, Jaguar. Am I missing someone? And a couple more people speak languages, and These languages for me is one of the best proofs we got. When so many people speak galactic languages, it's absolutely great. Caitlin, are you speaking galactic languages?
Nope.
I know three words. I know Lyran, wuha, wuha is hello, muha is goodbye, and Arcturian, wee is we love you.
Sometimes I kind of wonder in my mind if, like, I do have. I don't know. Sometimes I just get these weird words and I'm like, should I say them?
Nick, can you give us blessing, good night blessing on any language you like?
All right.
And we'll wrap up.
Yep. Actually, I know an insectoid language, but it sounds really funny.
Excellent. Let's do that.
All right. There's more like words, and then it could turn into just the kind of how they talk.
All right.
All right, don't laugh. Okay, I'm laughing. All right.
Can you move the camera a little down because you kneel down when you do things?
All right, that was enough of that craziness.
Yeah,
All right, well,
it
I
was
just want to
Insectoid.
say thank you for bringing us together, and I appreciate everyone who's watching all the videos, and I appreciate you, Max, and Caitlin, and everybody else in Human Colonies. You guys are all awesome, and I feel like we're already becoming a family very quickly, and we can change this whole world. So let's keep it up and keep doing the work, and all of us in Human Colony are now employed, so start doing some work. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. Have a good night. Let's talk soon.
All right, Max, appreciate it. Good night, Caitlin.
You too. Good night.
Right.
All right, bye.
Bye.